It's Monday, July 2nd, and you're listening to the Geek at Geek News Central, show number 778, sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com. Save 25% on a one-year fourth-generation hosting account by using the promo code NAB. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Hey, folks, I got a little bit to share with you and actually confess when we get through the intro. You know what comes next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
Or go fly.
Microphone.
Or go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to the Geek News Central podcast, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Greater Honolulu. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm reach up here and I'm going to grab this camera and move it over a little bit. I tell you, you know what happened tonight was got everything ready. Studio came up, got the cameras all hooked up, the audio's going. Everything looks like it's great. I go ahead and fire the show, do the first intro, roll the intro clip, and I leaned over and looked and I saw no audio being recorded on the system, making basically me just talking with no audio going out on the system. So off to a great start here in the studio in Honolulu, but we're ripping and roaring, or at least I am. I'm ripping and roaring, ready to go here. Trade winds are blowing the wrong way, so I'm turning the ceiling fan speed up a little bit here in the studio because I feel like I'm cooking already, and hopefully this doesn't knock my little filters out on the lights up there. We'll keep our fingers crossed on that. But hey, if you're checking out the show for the very first time, yes, I can be a bit of a knucklehead sometimes, but 778 shows in, I guess I can be afforded to make a few mistakes from time to time. I want to give, first of all, a very warm welcome to anyone that's new. And of course, I want to give a welcome to our Hana and listeners from around the world. And of course, Ohana means family here in Hawaii. Welcome to the family of listeners. We want to make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com. Check out all the great articles on the website. We've got a great team of writers over there that are putting together a great deal of content for you on a daily basis. So definitely come over. And of course, you'll want to get subscribed to this show. And you can do so by really going to the second column of the website. There's an orange box there with the links to the Geek News Central audio, video feeds, to special media feeds, the Saturday Morning Tech, the Gadget Professor, Robot Underpants, which is not child safe, and the Chrome Show. So definitely check all the shows out here. Of course, I bring this show to you every Monday and Thursday. We do Saturday Morning Tech, of course, on Saturday morning very early. Don Bain is the Gadget Professor. He brings the show to you on Thursday. Langley's been putting his stuff up on Thursday and Friday as well. And of course, I try to do the Chrome shows on the weekends. Of course, we want you to make sure you reach out to the show, and if you want to comment about anything that's going on here, it's real easy to do so. All you really have to do is Twitter me at Geek News, and of course, follow me at Geek News as well. And of course, email me here, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. Our hotline is available 24 hours a day at 619-342-7365 for those of you overseas, +1 619-342-7365. Well, I tell you, kind of recovered from flying back from Texas. Definitely enjoying the weather. It's beautiful here. I'll talk about what I did with the remaining part of my weekend after getting back on United on Saturday and fighting fog in San Francisco and a whole bunch of other stuff. Well, let's take care of a little business first here and just give a shout out to our sponsor. Hey, of course, you guys know that GoDaddy.com has been a sponsor here at Geek News Central for a very long time. Matter of fact, we are now, because we're into July, I can officially say that GoDaddy has been with us 7 full years. Started in July of 2005, and here we are in July of 2012. Been a sponsor here for 7 full years, and with that, we have a deal, an absolutely amazing deal for you this month and this month only. And this is a great offer to get involved with. So what you got to do, and this is real simple. All you got to do is visit geeknewscentral.com. You're going to find a link there in the show notes or at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And we're going to get you a .com. You can buy up to 3 .coms per account at $4.95 a year. So up to 3 domains for $4.95, okay? Now additional .coms are $7.99 a year underneath the same code by using the promo code 495geek. Again, 495geek is the code. This is an amazing offer to get 3 domains at $4.95 each. Of course, we've got our hosting promo code going on. Use the code NAB to save 25% as well. But if you come over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy, you're going to be able really there. Again, go over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You're going to be able to find all of my promo codes. Geek5 save you 15%. Todd will save you 10% on non-domain orders. You can renew .coms using ComSale 3. Aloha will get you $20 off any order of $75 or more. Of course, we've always got $12.99 SSL certificates. And we want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here at the show. This is a great deal. It's up in our website right now. You'll be able to save that money immediately. Again, this is for the month of July only, and really kind of a recognition of 7 years of them being a sponsor here. And I really do appreciate it. What you see here, what I do, keeping my family fed, keeping the lights on, would not be possible without GoDaddy and other sponsors that sponsor the show. So we want to thank them so much for their continued support of the podcast. And the only reason they do is because you continue to go out and pick out products and services well from them. And we definitely appreciate it. Okay, so what else is happening here? Well, I tell you, started out in Austin. I basically got to the airport actually an hour earlier than I normally would. So I was really there about 2.5 hours before my flight. Got my bags up there, got it, of course, dropped the rental car off, got checked in. And the lady says, your flight's delayed 4 hours. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean 4 hours? And she says, oh, yeah, there's fog in San Francisco and they've held the air traffic up and you're not going anywhere. So I said, okay, what other way you can get me home? And she looked through the system and really couldn't find any other route. And she says, you might make your connection because if everything else is being delayed, probably the flight that's coming in that's going to take you to Honolulu has been delayed too. He says, we'll just roll the dice. And as I got on board the aircraft in Austin, really 6.5 hours later, or whatever it was, and because I originally had a pretty long layover in San Francisco. I had a 4-hour layover to begin with, so I had a little bit of wedge time, I guess, for a better word for it. And as soon as I hit the deck in San Francisco, turned on my phone, loaded the United app, and found out that my flight had been pushed 2 hours. So by the time I got home here in Honolulu, it was like midnight. And to top it off, and I'm going to gross you guys out just a little bit here. So I got an upgrade to first class. I was starving, hadn't ate, didn't have time really to. And so, we get airborne, and all of a sudden, as the pressure increases in the aircraft, someone was having some, how should we say it, trouble. And about gassed first class out for about 5 hours straight. Whoever was the machine that was behind, it was disgusting. And even, and I'm just like, the stewardess came by and I'm kind of like, can you figure out who that is? And please tell them to go take care of that. And she goes, believe me, if I knew, I would. And I mean, hard to eat through dinner. It was disgusting. I mean, oh my God, it was bad. And anyway, we got off the flight Honolulu. And I said, thank God for fresh air. It was like, oh my goodness. So I hope that person feels better. But he about killed us for 5 hours. What a machine, whoever it was. It was bad. I mean, really bad. So anyway, I got home here pretty late. My daughter's birthday was the next day, and I'm like, and it was her sweet 16. I'm like, what are we doing for your sweet 16? She's like, you're taking me shopping, and I'm kind of looking at her mother. I'm taking you shopping. Oh yeah, Dad, you're taking me shopping. So off I went to basically getting her the next morning. We went out and I spent all day in a mall, which I was happy to do. It was her sweet 16, and I think she thought Dad would spend a little more money on the credit card than her mother would, and it really kind of worked out okay. She wasn't too greedy, so things went well. I wanted to tell you guys last time, and I'm taking a little extra time here tonight before we get into the content. I promise we're going to get into the tech content here in a few minutes, but the HD mobile broadcast studio, I'm really pleased with how it performed. What I figured out on the video, because the first night we were in Texas, the green screen, the audio was slipping. And if I would have really paid attention, I would have figured it out the first night what was going on, because the master recording was perfect. There was really nothing wrong with the master recording on both night shows. The difference was is I had loaded the recording in Adobe, and it turns out that Wirecast, when it does the recording, it does a variable bit rate. It doesn't stay constant, and that's how kind of it does buffering to make sure it doesn't miss frames. Well, what that really does is, depending on the type of editor you're using, a nonlinear editor causes that to get shifted. So there was extra frames and stuff in there that was causing it to get all jacked up. So essentially what ended up happening is I, for the first time and really since Final Cut Pro X, whatever they call it now, 10, has come out, I used Final Cut that night to encode the media file, and it took a little while to get through that, but it was perfect when I come out. So when I go from the road now, I'm going to have to be editing Final Cut, and it's just one of those weird things in Wirecast I'm not real pleased about, but it was a good lesson learned, and it may explain some of the other things that have happened in the past using that particular editing solution for Wirecast videos. So it was so noticeable in that last go round that I just couldn't believe it. So it's fixed, and we're good there. We did an update to the TriCaster as well. We had some problems here. They submitted a software fix, so hopefully tonight we're not going to have any issues. We'll know that a little later. And I know a couple of people are working on graphics for the Ohana caster back there. And if you get those into me, we'd love to put those up on the system. Otherwise, I'm just going to start making my own graphics, and you guys probably don't want me to do that. But anyway, that's really all I've got for notes. And again, thanks GoDaddy for being a sponsor here. Let's go ahead and get into the full blown content tonight. I got a great stack of stuff to go through. I think you guys are going to be wowed by the amount of content that I have lined up for you tonight. But let me go back here and get into the first article. There's a new initiative. It's called the Declaration of Internet Freedom, and this is appropriate right here for those of us, at least in the United States, right here before the 4th of July. And I know those of you that are outside the United States, you could probably care less about this. But I think this particular internet version of the Declaration of Internet Freedom is going to be an interesting one, because what they have done is a group of people and companies have come out behind basically they're standing up for an open and free internet. And they really have 5 guidelines. And what they're looking to talk about, and let me bring this up here. So let me go do that. And then let me hit this and bring this up. Now, this is over on Tech Dirt. And what they've come out and said is that they want freedom of expression. In other words, don't censor the internet. Access to promote universal access to fast and affordable networks. Openness, where it keeps the internet an open network where everyone is free to connect, communicate, write, read, watch, speak, listen, learn, create, and innovate. And they have an innovation segment where they protect the freedom to innovate and create without permission, don't block new technologies, and don't punish innovators for their users' actions. And of course, privacy, to protect privacy and defend everyone's ability to control how their data and devices are used. So I signed the Declaration of Internet Freedom here at Geek News Central. We put that, they're validating companies and groups before they add us to the list, but I did sign that today. So I have a link up to this for you in the show notes to check out. And don't forget, our show notes are at gncshownotes.com. That's where we have all of the extensive show notes for the show. Of course, if you're signed up for our newsletter, the newsletter will be sent out immediately following the show with those same exact links. So make sure you sign up via the newsletter link on the website. So, this goes into talking about innovation, privacy, openness, access, and expression. And I hate to say it, but Cisco, aka the makers of Linksys routers, may have innovated themselves right out of business. Last week, a number of Cisco customers, Linksys customers, started having problems with the E2700, E3500, and E4500 routers. And this is a Linksys branded router. And I've only been using Netgear for a while, and I'm just pretty thankful that I haven't got any of these particular models here in my studio or in my business. But when they attempted to log into those devices, they were asked, instead of being able to know how you do in your router, you just basically 192.168.1.1, or you put router login, or routers have a different variety of ways to log in. And they were asked to log in and register using what was being introduced called the Cisco Connect Cloud. And the story that has emerged from this unexpected upgrade is this is just a company that has lost their mind. And what they have done is, if you had automatic firmware updates set on your router, they pushed out a firmware update without customer approval. And now, of course, that's if you had it automatically set to update, it did. And basically, this Cloud Connect firmware update basically forces you to register for this new Cloud Connect account. So, they're trying to reverse you in, use it.com on their side to manage your router sitting at your, on your counter. And here's the thing that really sucks. Registering for such account means, and this is, again, if you want to manage your router that you spent your money on, you have to agree to give up your data so that Cisco can sell it. Here's the quote in the terms of service. And again, this is when you go to Cloud Connect, because you can't log in directly to your router no more. They don't allow you. They redirect you out of there. I'd throw mine in the trash. I'd go smash the doggone thing and videotape it. It says, we may keep track of certain information related to your use of the service, including but not limited to status and health of your network and network products, which apps relating to the service you are using, which features you are using within the service infrastructure, network traffic, megabyte per hour, internet history, how frequently you encounter errors on the service, and other related information. We use this other information to help us quickly and effectively respond to inquiries and requests, and to enhance and administer our overall service for our customers. We may also use this other information for traffic analysis, for example, determining when the most customers are using the service, and to determine which features within the service are more or least effective to useful to you. In addition, we may periodically transmit system information to our servers in order to optimize your overall experience with the service. We may share aggregated and anonymous user experience information with service providers, contractors, or other third parties. This, my listening and viewing audience, is insanity. Try to log into your router. If you can't log in and they're being forced you to this new website, if you have an E27, E3500, or an E4500, my advice to you is to go out and buy a brand new router, write a blog post, tweet what you're doing, smash your old modem, take pictures. This is not good. I mean, this is ridiculous what they have done here. So this is a good way for Cisco to drive people into buying routers from other companies. Now, I think we all could understand how a cloud service could have value, but it should be presented to all of us as a choice and not lock us out of our routers. our home routers that we have purchased, this is just ridiculous. Cisco has a serious imagination here. Who did they sell this to? Who was the idiot? Who was the idiot in sales? Who was the idiot in marketing that thought this was a good idea? Can you guys even think? Can you guys even imagine in your normal JOB suggesting something as ridiculous as this? I mean, I'm shocked. I'm literally awestruck of what they have done here. And, I just can't believe it. I really can't. And, but enough smashed routers with pictures on YouTube, I think is very effective. Now, I haven't looked up exactly what these routers look like. Let me just look up a Linksys E2700 and see what one of these looks like. And I'm just going to Google this real quick here. I probably should have done this earlier. Look, Linksys E2700. Okay, Google, you're going to cooperate with me. Come on, baby. How come it doesn't want to give me a result here? That's odd. All right, so let me try Google again. I wonder if they blocking my searches. Okay, E2700 Linksys. Is there a picture of this thing? There's got a picture for this. Let me look if I can find one on that. Okay, here we go. See if we can actually show what this thing looks like. Oh, here's what it looks like, folks. All right, these are basically, they look like they have either stripe across the top or stripe down the middle. And again, it's a 2700, 3500, or the 4500. If you're looking at the screen right now, for those of you that are viewing, I'll put this link up in the show notes for you, but you can definitely check these models out. And they're dual band routers, gigabit, and these aren't necessarily inexpensive buggers either. So anyway, I'll have the link up in the show notes for you. These are the 3 top models. And let me see what is the 4500. They show a price on that. What is the price? How much? Find a retailer. So let me click on that. Let's go and look and see what Best Buy's selling them for. Oh, that was fun. That sent me to some weird link. I wonder if something got hijacked there. Piece World. I took it to a website, 117 pounds. So it's about 170, maybe 180 US dollars. So not an inexpensive router. But anyway, that's what's happening with the folks at Cisco. Hey, tonight before I started the show, I put a call out on Google Plus, on Twitter, on Facebook. I said, if you got something that you're doing that's cool, send me a link. And I don't normally just I haven't reviewed this all, but a website, sociable-now.com, is a link I got from someone that's part of that startup. And there's a little video on what sociable-now.com is. It sucks to have one of those domains with a dash in it, but I'll have the link up in the show notes in the in listener submitted links, and you guys can take a check it out and see if the site does what they say it does. But anyway, they basically say it's a new service that allows you to instantly connect to your customers in real-time audio conversation. I don't know if I want to talk with people as they're built into my website. And I guess if I have a tech support website, maybe so, but people ring me on the telephone enough as it is. All right, let's talk a little bit about this whole thing going on with Apple and Samsung. And there's quite the traffic. I've been watching on Google Plus tonight. I'm watching the hashtag boycott Apple. And I think what I'm seeing in some of these posts is really people are not happy because what's going on is Google has really started to, Apple has really started to impact companies like Samsung. And, so nothing on here is nice. Here's one post that says, why innovate, litigate? So people are really upset that Apple has basically got a bunch of Samsung devices. It just started to be, um, banned from being able to be sold in the United States. And so all kinds of stuff is going on here. Here's a guy that's got an image of a Galaxy Nexus with all kinds of tools, and then it shows an iPhone 4 with a spoon. So basically what has happened is a judge named by Judge Koh, maybe Koh, has basically succeeded, and basically the Apple has succeeded in blocking the Galaxy Nexus phone, along with some Samsung tablets, and basically an injunction here, a pretrial injunction that has basically got Samsung over a barrel. So all these new cool products that's coming out from Samsung are essentially going to be blocked from being able to be sold in the United States. And it might be Google Nexus, might be next. And this just goes to show you here that we have litigation going on that's now starting to affect, a patent. Something looks like something, it's shaped like something, has a certain bezel, it has a certain touchscreen feature, all this stupid stuff that's going on. And essentially, Apple is basically trying to stop for any type of innovation going on in the space. And, so it just goes to show you here that, what's happening is pretty ugly at this point. And one of the things that's being said on innovation post on Tech Dirt is that Apple's made clear, showing that in absence of preliminary injunction, is likely to lose substantial market share in the smartphone market and to lose substantial downstream sales of future smartphone purchases and tag-along products. This is what the judge said in his Friday ruling. And so it's bizarre that an injunction's been put in place. And, there was a decision already, the Merck Exchange decision, where courts are only supposed to issue injunctions in rare cases. And so, Samsung is appealing this, and they're asking that the injunction be put on hold until that appeal is heard. But, Apple's saying they copied some of the designs of its phone and tablet. Let's be honest with you. There's people don't innovate; they steal ideas, and they do it across all party lines, across various companies. They take pieces of this and that, and Apple. Come on, Let me talk about a little bit of what I saw on when I was on Friday in Austin. I was met up with Adam Curry, the Podfather, and he was showing me a new application. It's really not an app yet; it's a web service right now that he and another guy have developed, and they've had a couple of developers working on some stuff. And it's basically called a River of News, and what he's done is really cool. But talking with him, he showed me this new Samsung Galaxy phone that was absolutely huge and beautiful. And I immediately looked at it and compared it to my puny iPhone screen. And I was kind of like, whoa. And I hadn't seen this particular phone before. I was like, maybe I ought to get out a little more and look at the mobile phones. And, so there's a lot of stuff going on in the mobile space and in the tablet space that's all kind of innovation happening. And here we have this lawsuit that's basically stopping Samsung from moving forward and selling products here in the United States. And there is this huge, huge stream of commentary on both Twitter and on Google Plus that talks about all these particular issues. So I think we'll continue to watch this and see where it goes, and if the injunction holds, if Samsung's able to get the appeal shut down. But if you wanted this new Samsung Nexus, you're not going to be able to get it. It's not happening, at least for the time being. And someone's put up a website, boycottapple.com, and someone's put up a WordPress site, and they're organizing now to try to boycott. And I good luck with it, but seems to be boycotts never seem to, but maybe at least get Apple's attention that people aren't very happy. Hey, just another couple of things that I mentioned. I had met up with Adam Curry and his lovely fiance. Wow, what a gorgeous woman, absolutely beautiful. And they're getting ready to get married here in about a week. They're going to be going off to Holland to get married, and of course, I wish them congratulations already. But we had a nice discussion, hung out for I think about 3.5 hours. Talked new media, talked podcasting, talked apps, talked about the future of the space. There's a couple other people there as well, so we had a great time. It was really good. Got a chance to talk about Adams and John C. DeWork's show at No Agenda. Got to talk about how their model's working and all that. So it was really good, and just had a nice time. And I want to thank Adam and their basically for his hospitality, and look forward to seeing them again when I get out to Austin next time. Okay, let's go ahead and switch gears here and talk a little bit about Verizon. And this is just another shocker here. It's been a little while. We've had some challenges to net neutrality. The FCC has come out and basically, smacked Comcast around. And I got a dog across the street that he just does not want to shut up. Do you guys hear him back there barking? And he's new to the neighborhood, but he loves barking. Verizon has basically filed a brief in federal court. And basically, it's a lawsuit to overturn the Federal Communications Commission's net neutrality rules. So Verizon is arguing that the FCC has overstepped its authority when it adopted the rules in 2010. The telecom has also claimed that the regulations are arbitrary and as well as unconstitutional. It says the net neutrality rules prohibits internet service providers from blocking or slowing down access to legitimate websites. And we know that. Supporters of the rules say they preserve competition. I think we all agree with this. But in Monday's filing, Verizon argued that instead of proceeding with caution in light of the Comcast ruling, the FCC adopted rules that go even farther than its prior action and impose dramatic new restrictions on broadband internet access service providers. So here we go again. We have Verizon, who doesn't want to play by the rules, that wants to control what you and I do on the internet, wants to filter traffic, doesn't want to play nice, and they're going back and they're saying we don't want the FCC to have oversight into net neutrality. So I don't know how much this makes you guys feel, but they're a bunch of spoiled babies. And the FCC says the agency looks forward to defending our open internet rules in court. Now, Metro PCS is also suing the FCC over the rules and has joined in many Verizon's arguments. So we will see where this goes. The FCC's legal response is due in September, so we'll keep you advised on that. A judge, and this should come as no surprise, this seems to be regular occurrences around here now. A judge has slammed Universal Music for trying to bamboozle court and producers over Emian royalties. Basically, they've been using all kinds of commentary and comments and basically trying to trick the judge into, and basically by supplying tricky accounting on foreign receipts of sales and so forth to basically deny Emian some of his revenue. And the court is not happy with Universal at all. Basically, he says, the court is deeply troubled by the defendant's argument. While it is hard to see what FBT, and FBT's an Emian's company, could gain by feigning ignorance, it is now quite apparent what defendants could hope to gain by bamboozling the court and plaintiffs on this issue. Defendants' current stance makes it appear as though defendants carefully inserted the issues into the motion for summary judgment before they had notified FBT or the court of what percentage of revenues from foreign sales of permanent downloads and master tones would be paid to FBT. An attempt to dupe the court into a premature ruling will not serve as the basis to deny FBT an opportunity to challenge defendants' accounting practices. So, this judge is saying, Universal, quit playing. And we're going to let FBT, Emian's company, to challenge what you're saying here. So this is good. These music companies, they just don't want to pay artists what they deserve. It just goes on and on and on. Well, my publisher, Wiley Publishing, Of course, they hold the copyright on my book, my podcasting book. And but basic John Wiley and Sons has went after a individual in New York who basically put up BitTorrent for Dummies on the web. He made it available as a download, and he's got to pay the Wiley $7,000 for sharing. Again, a copy of WordPress all-in-one for Dummies, and they found guilty both copyright and trademark infringement. So this is the first time the judgment's been handed down like this. So Wiley and Sons became the first book publisher to go after BitTorrent users in the U.S. Now, I know my book was shared digitally as well. People bought the digital copy and then made it available online. We did good on sales anyway. So I think maybe at that point, Wiley said, okay, we've had enough movement on this. It was long enough down the road before it was out digitally that it didn't affect us. But I know my book had been pirated as well. And what book? I think every book is at this point. Okay, NASA's Orion has arrived at Kennedy. Work is underway for the first launch. So this is a big day. The Orion spacecraft is been delivered, and it will be basically getting ready for a 2014 launch from the Cape. And it's going to basically be the first space launch. They're going to do some tests. It's going to travel out into deep space, going to go about 3,600 miles above the Earth's surface. This is around 15 times farther than the International Space Station. This will be really the farthest we've went with a craft that is designed to carry a crew. But this is going to be an unmanned launch, and then they're going to test the vehicle on re-entry and all that. So we're moving forward, being back into the space business. But again, the first launch of the first test isn't until 2014. The International Space Station crew has returned. Three persons from the International Space Station arrived in their Soyuz re-entry capsule, landing in southern Kazakhstan, basically wrapping up a 193-day mission. NASA astronaut Donald Petit, Russian Oleg Kononenko, and Andrei Kupers of the Netherlands arrived at the ISS on December 23rd, but they are back and safe. So congratulations to that team. Did you get extra second of sleep there this past weekend? We gained a second over a leap second. It had caused some havoc on the internet. A bunch of sites went down. Reddit went down. Java was apparently the guilty party that was bringing sites down, but Foursquare was affected. LinkedIn was affected. They were down most of Saturday. So, boy, just jumping the clocks a second caused these systems to choke and fall over on themselves. But anyway, they do this every so many years, and they've added 25 leap seconds since 1972. So anyway, that is basically what's going on. And these sites have recovered, but they thought what happens when they rolled clocks over is going to be bad. Just jumping the clock ahead a second seemed to make those machines have major issues. Of course, many of you are not able to watch or listen to the show because you are without power, and maybe you're listening to this post-show. Boy, oh boy, the storms just ravaged Virginia, Ohio, everywhere in between. And talking with my mom, they missed the majority of it, but our offices in Columbus were out of power for a couple of days. We did have, of course, all our stuff is in the cloud, but immediately I'm on the phone with Angelo at the middle of the night. We're checking to make sure that our servers are all up because Amazon had an outage as well. We're lucky; we pretty much come out unscathed over the time. But many folks, I know that Pinterest and Instagram and a variety of other sites went down, and were down for a long time due to the weather and basically losing a data center in North Virginia. So this is where this show is streaming from right now. That same data center. So I guess I'm pretty happy that we survived it as a company and everything stayed up and online. But the question is being asked is how safe is stuff in the cloud when these type of instances happen? The government and federal agencies have moved email and other services to cloud servers. and they're using commercial services like Amazon or Google to host those. So I'm sure there's going to be some deep look at this on how the government operates and using cloud services. But if they can bring down big companies like Pinterest and Netflix, you can be doggone guaranteed that probably government services would be affected as well. So, does it make you want to rethink cloud computing? I think any data center is going to be impacted at some point when something like this comes through, and there's not a lot you can do about it. You lose power. Those backup systems and generators those data centers have can only handle so long because they are really on these super redundant systems. But when it's like massive destruction on storms, there's not much that can be done. But I hope those of you that were without power or suffer damage are okay, and I hope you're able to enjoy the upcoming 4th of July here in the U.S. All right, Twitter has released a transparency report. And this is kind of an interesting report here by Twitter. This dog across the street is driving me crazy. Looking at the user information that they are actually the information that Twitter has put on the street. Australia, Austria, Brazil, Bulgaria all had less than 10 user information requests. The United States had 679. Percentage where some or all information was produced. United States, 75%. So basically, they got a lot of data off those accounts. And then user accounts specified. United States had 948. So basically, the United States was really pulling in data from Twitter and getting information. Now they do a kind of a breakdown of what each of these categories are, but surprisingly, the number of requests for data removal was greatest in France, Greece, Pakistan, Turkey, and the United Kingdom. And then copyright takedown notices were pretty large as well across the board. But anyway, I have this link up in the show notes. You'll be able to check this out. But it just goes to show you the type of information that Twitter's having to share with Uncle Sam or law enforcement agencies in different countries. And there's a whole list here. Australia, Austria, Brazil, Bulgaria, Canada, France, Germany, Greece, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Korea, Mexico, Netherlands, Peru, Portugal, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Turkey, UK, and, of course, the United States. Two top ones was, of course, the U.S. and, believe it or not, Japan. Japan requested a lot of information, too, and followed by the UK. So kind of a surprise there. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that they provided in this report. So as well, you can go in and take a look. There's been some comparisons on the new Google Voice search and comparing it to Siri. And so far, everyone say that they're pretty closely matched from a response standpoint and doing different things like making a call or looking up an address, a variety of different things. Also, just some random questions being asked, setting alarms, checking the weather, playing a tune, dictating an email, and so forth. Pretty much a dead heat when it came between the new Google Voice commands and Siri. So those of you that are on Android, that's good news for you as well. All right, Facebook. We talked about this on the last show, and I apologize. My nose is running here a little bit. Facebook has just completed a complete a meltdown on people's accounts by basically, if you have loaded the Facebook app on your iPhone or your Android, part of the issue with this Facebook email issue was from the mobile devices, and they have just basically caused havoc. People losing email, stuff going into routing the wrong way. Facebook was initially saying it's users' problems. They don't know what they're doing. They're idiots. And Facebook is now kind of backing up and telling people what they can and can't do and how they can fix things. But really, some people are locked into some of these change. There's all types of synchronization issues going on where people's names are being synchronized into an email address being synchronized into Facebook when they weren't supposed to be. And but it just goes on and on and on. And but if you have had some issues here with the Facebook email and your address book all of a sudden being imported into Facebook. Do not be surprised. There's some problems there, and Facebook is trying to do damage control, but it's not working real well, and they have gotten just basically pummeled here over the last 48 hours over this whole thing, and everyone complaining wasn't a user issue at all, but it was basically Facebook is had some issues, and the Facebook was basically pointing the finger at its users for quite a while, and have changed their tune here a little bit today, but not good on Facebook's part. So I'll have a link up in the show notes. Goes through this whole chronologicals of events that have happened. And it's not going to be long. I'm going to talk a little medicine here, and some of the stuff that the science is doing is pretty cool. Researchers have moved a step closer to creating a synthetic liver after a U.S. team created a template for blood vessels to grow into using sugar. Now, what they've done is they've synthetically engineered cells, which are now basically being printed and using sugar as the building materials. And they're doing some crazy stuff here. Instead of using wax, they use sugar and then laid proteins on top and all this other complicated stuff. And basically what they're doing here is trying to build blood vessels. And once you get the blood vessels built, then the rest of the organ stuff, from what I understand, is not difficult, which makes me kind of surprised. But they said we tried to make a liver, so we surrounded these these artificial these blood veins with liver cells, and basically they started hearing, and so it's all kinds of crazy stuff that they're doing here, and they think they someday might be able to build a kidney as well. But man, biomedicine's coming a long way. I'm just excited to see where this is heading. Just imagine you send a print order in, they print you a new kidney. That would be way cool. Well, hacking is basically a way of life for many countries. They're out hacking, trying to get steal secrets. But apparently Chinese hackers have been able to steal Indian Navy secrets and using a thumb drive virus. So, here's the thing, folks. If you find a thumb drive laying around, don't be a cheap Charlie and put that thing in your machine, okay? It's almost always going to end up having bad things happening to you. So essentially, what they're saying here is, according to the report of the Indian Express, China-based hackers broke into the computer system of India's Eastern Naval Command, where India's first nuclear submarine is undergoing trials, using a virus transmitted by USB thumb drive. The hackers were able to cache information that matched keywords and transfer it to another thumb drive once one became available. That allowed the data to be moved to the internet-connected PCs, where the virus then dumped the data and transmitted it across the internet to servers in China. So just think about that for a second. Some knucklehead picks up a thumb drive that's been put in a strategic place on the floor. He goes into his computer, he plugs it in, he uses it like a normal thumb drive. All the time, the thumb drive is basically collecting data off his machine and looking for information and loading that up on the thumb drive. And then the guy pulls the thumb drive out, takes it home, sticks it into his machine at home, and then, he's in the on the internet, and boom, out goes the data. So the Indian Navy has not revealed the extent of the hack or how long it went on for, but apparently at least 6 officers have been charged with procedural lapses that allowed the hack to happen. Don't take unknown USB sticks into your companies, because you might unwittingly be putting data into or putting a malware into a computer that's going to have your employer's trade secrets transmitted to the Chinese. They don't innovate. They just steal everything. And so just be aware of that, okay? All right, MobileMe officially shut down. iWork.com is next. So iWork.com was going to go dark on July 31st. So if you had stuff on MobileMe, sorry, it's gone. You had some advanced announcement here. And but anyway, mobile me officially has been shut down. iWork.com is coming on July 31st. Get your data off there if you have any data remaining. Another court has nixes the latest porn trolling scheme. Basically, the court was not impressed by claims of 6,600 people conspiring to hack a porn site. So the Illinois Supreme Court has rejected this company's efforts to unmask thousands of non-Illinois internet users who were allegedly accessed the vendor's website without permission. The order came after a coalition of ISPs objected to subpoenas. So basically, again, they get a slapdown. AT&T and Verizon chose to fight the subpoenas. The company Lightspeed and its lawyers aren't really interested in pursuing their claims against a single individual in St. Clair County, nor are they interested in discovery pertinent to those cases the ISP argued in a court filing. So basically, the judge denied the ISP request, and so another company's been basically said, go away. You're not going to be going and trying to extort money from those specific customers. Now, on another front, a New York judge has compelled Twitter to reveal a user's data. So basically, a New York criminal court judge denied Twitter's motion to stop a court order that required the company to produce information about one of its users, who was an Occupy Wall Street protester. The move appears to open the door to Twitter's release of data in that question. So basically, Twitter has to hand this over or be facing contempt of court. Malcolm Harris, a.k.a. Destructor Remo, was charged with disorderly conduct in a state criminal case filed by the state of New York late last year. And they basically wanted his Twitter feed, his public one. And basically, judges said, once you put something out on Twitter and make it publicly available, it's always in the public. So Twitter originally said it wouldn't comply with the order because Twitter has always maintained that users own their tweets. But this is a ruling that's definitely going to go against all of us here. And, Twitter tried here to defend their users' data. And this goes back for really making determinations why companies keep logs of stuff for that long. Because if Twitter didn't have the logs, then there'd be no way they could comply with this court order. But does not seem to be the case. They're holding on to logs longer and longer. Hey, those of you that are looking forward to the Windows 8 upgrade, hey, this is big news. Windows 8 upgrade is only going to cost you $39.99 if you want to go from Windows 7 to Windows 8 Pro. You can buy a box set for $69.99 via retail outlets. So between its launch, whenever that may be, and January 1st, 2013, users of Windows XP, Windows Vista, and Windows 7 will be able to buy the really cheap upgrade here. They're taking a card out of the playbook from Apple, and you'll be able to upgrade to Windows 8 Pro again for $39.99 via download. And this is outstanding. This is just fantastic. I was, thinking, oh man, 200 here, 200 there, 200 there. So I'm looking here, $39, $39, $39. Yeah. $120 bill versus what normally would be $600 is fantastic. So again, Windows 8 upgrade, $39.99 to Windows 8 Pro. That's not the best line, Windows version, but at least she'll get you there, and you probably will have higher tiers for the more robust versions, I guess. All right, how many of you riding a bike would like to have a monitor on board? Now, I got to show this to you. In our cars now, we're starting to get rear view. Of course, well, at least my car. My car has had. Did I get the right one here? Let me look. Paste and go. Okay. Now, well, the Gizmo page is kind of jacked up, but imagine you have a bicycle and you have a monitor on it, and that monitor's attached to a camera that's behind you. First of all, I don't want a monitor on a bike because what if you wreck? Your $179 you're going to spend for this thing is just going to be, flushed down the people say, well, I never wrecked my bike. Well, I've had a mountain bike, and believe me, I've crashed it a few times. And if there'd have been a monitor on the handlebars, that would have been it. But if you feel safe putting a rear view mirror on your bicycle, $179. And it's truly a rear view camera with a monitor. Just look over your shoulder. But I will say this one here, this next device, I think we'll all kind of get a chuckle out of. I don't know if I'll buy one, but this is a specialty knife. And what does it cost here? Let me look. Yeah, it's only a prototype, but imagine how many of you have gotten a stick of butter out of the refrigerator and it's been hard as a rock and you've had to kind of try to peel the butter off? Well, what if you had a knife that was heated and would basically deal with that cold butter? Ah, interesting. Don't know if I'd buy one, but this knife is going to heat up to 107.2 degrees Fahrenheit in 20 seconds, so you can easily cut your butter. All right, over on Dvork.org. 6 strikes is now in effect. As of July 1st, your ISPs, including Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, and Cablevision, are basically spying on you and don't maybe sending you letters in the mail if they feel that you're using it or being thought to be doing copyright infringement. So be aware, 6 strike law is in effect. And at this point, you could start getting letters from your ISPs for doing peer-to-peer and basically downloading copyrighted material. Well, if you get one of these notices, I want to hear about it. Email me at geeknews@gmail.com. Of course, you can reach me on Twitter @geeknews, or you can call our hotline at +1 619 342 7365. All right, Google is being accused of stealing the idea for Hangout. A New York startup claims that a video sharing feature in YouTube and Google Plus is based on concepts that showed Google when the two companies met to discuss collaboration in 2011. A lawsuit filed in San Jose, Cam Up is accusing the search giant of copyright infringement and trade secret misappropriation over a watch with your friends button for video. So anyway, basically they say that Cam Up was approached by Google VP Marissa Meyer and company engineers, and basically were talked to after the South by Southwest Festival, and they met several times, ways to integrate Watch with your friends on Cam Up onto YouTube. And basically what it is basically they're saying Google stole the idea and did not pursue a business relationship with Cam Up. So we'll see where this one leads. Users are also asking YouTube to let them record videos. So they basically want a DVR functionality built into YouTube. And there's a new online petition, and the new petition is over at change.org. And what they're asking YouTube is to allow third-party recording tools for YouTube. So if you want this, there's been 211,000 signatures already put on this. The petition is there, the petition letter, and of course updates. So read through this, find out why people are signing this. But if you want YouTube to have more of a DVR functionality where it records stuff that you kind of pre-program it to, you can do so. I don't know really what the utility of that is, except because unless people don't have good bandwidth or something, but they want people to be able to take a private copy of that with them and store locally. Alan did a good write-up at Geek News Central on where are BlackBerry users going, and basically everyone's been saying RIM is RIP, and potentially under major financial trouble. And this got a lot of traction on the website. I think this was our biggest news article last week. That was put up on, I think, Friday. He put it up on the 30th. And basically, some surveys were done. And because BlackBerry 10 has not come out, they asked BlackBerry users, where are you going to be going to? And BlackBerry fans, 19% they would go to Windows Phone 8, 34% would go to Android, and 47% would go to the iPhone 5. This source was over at wmpoweruser.com. To give them credit here on the source on this information. But again, we see an interesting big slice there, people considering going to Windows Phone. And the only reason I think this is probably the case that's got such a huge percentage is that, Windows Phone is going to tie into Windows very well. And essentially what's going to happen is it'll work in an enterprise setting. So it makes a lot of sense to me why most of those folks or a big percentage said they would go to a Windows phone. All right, the Canon EOS 1D 1DC is supposedly getting ready to make its debut. And this has got everyone stirred up because what may be going on here is that they may be getting ready to release the first DSLR 4K video camera slash video camera in the form of the Canon EOS 1DC. And this is pretty exciting stuff here. And there's a video clip from this that was supposedly a 4K clip, but it had to be size reduced to 1920 by 1080 to fit on the Vimeo site. But this is cool. So I'd like to see what the price tag on this thing's going to be. But yep, it's if you don't have to spend 60 or 70 grand to go to a Sony ESK. But this may be the way to get to 4K on a budget. Now, a lot of folks were disappointed when Microsoft announced some of the features that were going into the Windows Phone 8, but they have come back and they have basically said that it's not our nature to make it. It's not our nature to show everything. So they're saying there's going to be more stuff to be seen on what Windows Phone 8 can do in the future. So I find this an interesting comment by Microsoft that their nature makes it tough to show everything. We will see. We'll see if that statement holds up or not as the Windows Phone 8 comes to bear. A couple of quick articles for you tonight to go through. Apparently, if you're on T-Mobile, they've been having some trouble today. So data issues knocking some subscribers offline. So if you've been getting disconnected from T-Mobile, that might be the case that's going on. Next thing up is an article over on ours talking how Mozilla is going to be basically introducing Firefox OS. It's going to ship in 2013. They got a number of mobile providers that are interested in the Firefox OS. So it used to be Mozilla B2G. It's going to be called Firefox OS. So pretty exciting stuff on that front. And I really have not come up to speed on exactly what's being announced there and what they're going to bring to market. But Google is going to have an operating system. Firefox is going to have one. Obviously, all the other majors. So nice to see some competition in the market and having the Firefox / Mozilla folks fighting back. Now, speaking of fighting back, Firefox has been able to hold on to second place in the world browser share. So that's good news. Now, just by a small percentage, though, Internet Explorer 49.46, Firefox 18.35, Chrome 17.446. Now, when you look at it from a desktop standpoint, IE is still king at 54, Firefox at 20, Chrome at 19. Do they break down mobile market? The mobile market, of course, is dominated by Safari at 65.79, Android at 9.7, Opera at 10.45, and basically everything else is just in single percentage points. So we'll see where this leads, and maybe this is the reason why Firefox is coming out with its own operating system. Hey, the folks over at Bloomberg and Business Week are talking about self-destructing messages and photos. So there's a new app called Wicker. I'll have that link up in the show notes. You definitely need to check that out. Basically, sends you a message and says this message is going to self-destruct in 14 minutes and 42 seconds. So that's kind of cool after delivery. The folks at Android are not worried about the Adobe basically dropping Flash support in its newest version of Android 4.1, dubbed Jelly Bean. So basically, Google says they're going to be able to work around this. Not going to be an issue. But no more Flash updates for or versions for going forward for the Android platform. Canon, if you've got a PowerShot S100 and you've had some issues with it, Canon is recalling those. They're going to be fixing those for you at their charge. So basically, PowerShot S100s are encountering lens errors. So they basically said, "Hey, we're going to take care of them for you," and they got a series of serial numbers that are affected. Google's also launched mobile app analytics today. It's a app that actually can watch what's going on in your website, what type of traffic's going on, and breaks it out by device and gives you all kinds of cool information. Have a link up on the show notes about that. And also, in a big surprise here, Windows 7 is now powering most PCs. It's past the 50% threshold in June. So that's nice to see a big increase in Windows 7 users. With the same time, Windows XP continues to drop. Now, Windows Vista is pretty flat, and of course, Mac OS 10 is sitting right around 8% of total market share in the space. So a nice move on Windows 7 powering through and gaining a little bit over 50% of the total market share of operating systems on the network today. Finally, today, got a video for you to watch on ubergizmo.com. It's an angry customer who destroyed a T-Mobile store. This guy was upset, apparently, with his contract and couldn't renegotiate it. So he basically took it out on the store and just tore it up. So I have the link up in the show notes on that. Okay, let me get into the email real quick here because we're going to run long if I don't. Hope you enjoyed the regular content tonight. Got an email here from Tim. He says, "Hey, Todd, look what greedy AT&T sent me for the very first time. Personally, my 3G is often so craptastic that I would have guessed I was being throttled anyway. As of late, AT&T has been sending me messages telling me when I should be paying my bill, among other service messages. Replying stop won't end the annoying text. I wonder if I can find an option online under my account, but they send him this message. Your data usage reached 3 gig this month. Using more than 3 gig in future billing cycles result in reduced speeds. You can avoid going over your limit by using Wi-Fi. Visit AT&T.com/data info or call 866-344-7584 for more info." Tim, it is disgusting, isn't it? It's really aggravating. I got an email here from MS Small Biz. He says, "Hey, Todd, sitting here on a flight, I'm wondering how you can fly as much as you do. Even though check-in went very quickly, TSA was friendly, allowing me to opt out of a dose of radiation, instead pass through a metal detector without the typical turn your head and cough routine. My flight was even on time, leaving more or less, yet I sit here at 35,000 feet, hating the whole thing. I may be tainted as the seat is as hard as a rock, worse than a stadium bleacher, and every time someone goes to the bathroom, the entire plane stinks of septic smells, making this 2.5 hour flight total torture. That said, I still got a connection to make within maybe 20 minutes in which to grab a snack. So how can you put up with flying nearly weekly?" He says, "At least I have the tablet to play a game or write this email, but even after reading chapters of Will Wheaton's book, it's still another 30 before we land. Help!" And I basically replied to him. I said, "Simply having status and only having to be in coach once in a while makes life much livable. Plus, I pretty much know where not to sit when I am in coach." And then he responds again. He says, "Well, I thought I gave a quick update. It's almost 1 a.m. local time, 2 a.m. my time, and my 40-minute layovers turned into a 5 hour so far. They swear our plane is on the way, but I'm not willing to put money on that. I fly 2-3 times a year, and if I had to fly more than that, it would likely be on the evening news, if you get me." I do, MS Small Biz. Luckily, I have enough status built up that usually I get a good seat up in front. Not always, but once in a while I do. So, or usually I do, and I don't have to sit in coach very often. That's the only thing that makes it bearable for me. And plus, when I do sit in coach, I don't sit near the bathrooms ever, as far away as possible, unless you have someone on a plane like I did that was their own bathroom. Or you got an email from a listener who wants to remain anonymous. He says, "Todd, Japan restarts first nuclear reactor since Fukushima crisis." And he links me to the link. I'll have that in the show notes. Another listener sent me a link. He says, "Hey, Todd, how a lone grad student scoop the government and what it means for your online privacy." So I'll have that link up in the show notes. And people are using Flipboard. That's cool to send me links. But that's it. That's all I had for emails this show. As always, folks, at Geek News is the Twitter account. Email me, geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline is 619-342-7365. Kind of a get back in the swing of things show tonight. I apologize if we're a little off the the beat here, as I would like to say normally. Still kind of recovering, getting back from being on Central Standard Time, and really kind of not sleeping well that whole week, and then getting home and trying to get caught up with everything here. So be back in the full swing of things next show. I'm here in Honolulu for a while, I think. I don't think I'm going anywhere anytime soon. Thank goodness. Cross my fingers. But as always, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the family. And as always, I really appreciate you guys being part of the show. It keeps me going here, and the emails you send and the information that you send me is way cool. And thanks for being part of the Ohana. And we'll see you next time. Everyone, take care. Aloha.